It's been a while since we did some plant care together, so grab your chores, grab your plants, or just grab a cup of a nice drink and chill out while I do a bunch of plant care. Hello everyone, welcome back. Today is actually King's Day in the Netherlands, which is like the biggest national party that we have. It's the birthday of the king, so you might hear some weird background noises. I think my neighbor is gonna have a party later. There's parties going on around the town, but I am in the garden to repot some plants, do some plant care with you. You may notice some differences behind me. It is really bright today, so hopefully you'll be able to see what I'm doing, but we are currently also painting the walls. I don't know if there's any can you hear that? That's one of the horns, the air horns. There is probably paint on me everywhere, so now you get a sneak peek. I am working on the renovation videos, but let's start with something easy because it's quite a lot. First thing we're doing is we're putting this beautiful Hoya Gunungading up on a better trellis. It was on a stick and I took the stick out. It's pretty windy too. I don't know if the audio is bad. Let me check. I couldn't really hear it because it's very quiet on my camera, but I think it's okay. So we have Hoya Gunungading and we have a little trellis like this. This is just a bamboo trellis from the garden center. Squeak, squeak, squeak. Wait, let me move you so you can actually see what I'm doing. I'm just gonna try and stick it in. That's what he said. It's way too bright, isn't it, the sun? Ooh, look at those roots. That looks nice. Let's see, we're gonna tie it up. It's really bad. The hot tub has been moved for the painting, so now you're in the sun, which is not ideal, but okay. I'm trying to be careful with the new leaves. You can't see, but there's new leaves on here and I don't want to ruin them. This little one was actually full of aphids, so I cleaned that off. Hopefully it's gonna continue to grow. Okay, you can't see it all. Wait, if I move you to the shade. Okay, in the shade you can actually see pretty well, except it's windy and cold in the shade. It looks really good on here. It fits. The new leaves are more supported. This is all new. And the new tendril, oh, touching the mic. One new tendril over here, one tendril over here growing all sorts of leaves. Removing an aphid from that again. And another one. I see you, motherfucker. Get off my plant. Okay. So that was the easiest thing we're doing. Hello, it's Rose from the future. It has actually been exactly 1 month since I filmed this plant care, and now I'm finally editing it. So I thought I would include some updates. First off, the Hoya Gunungading. There's not that much to see different, I think, except on the back here. There's quite a few new tendrils. There's a new baby leaf on the way over here. It seems to be growing steadily and fitting much better on this new trellis tendril. So I'm very happy with this one. It's living in my south facing window, so I get to see it very often and keep an eye on the new leaves that are growing. Okay, I had to empty my memory card, but I am back. We're gonna do a few repots. So first of all, this is my philodendron Ilsamani that never had any variegation. Oh, you see this? The shadow of the camera and the mic. See? This is the mic right here. Okay, doesn't matter. Ilsamani didn't have any variegation for the longest time until it started to grow some variegation. See, there's little spots here. Then we got this leaf, which is getting a little bit more. And now we have this leaf. It's sizing up and there is nice variegation there. This plant is known for being able to get, it's stable and it gets very white, like specific looking variegation. And the plant itself, it's in a very small pot. I don't think I've repotted it since I got it, when it was about this size. And also, I did notice that the internode, so it grew very compact down here. There's several, they're just like, the nodes are this size. And now the node is this size, even though it is in my south facing window. So we're gonna give it a moss pole. This is my theory. We're gonna make a moss pole, start it on here, and then it can root into it as it grows, because at the My the air horns, at the My Botanica in Ham, there was a company that 3D prints moss poles, and we're gonna put that just up here. You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to put it in the pot and then have the plant grow on it. But I feel like if I put it here, it gives the plant a chance to root into it. Maybe we'll put it here a little bit so that these roots can root into it, because apparently this plant is pretty hard to propagate from what I've learned from my friends. And we're also gonna repot it because this pot, wait, I can try and get it out already. I think it's full of roots because I'm also guiding all the aerial roots down into the soil. I have a wrist injury, so I'm not so strong with pulling right now. Look at that. All the roots. We're gonna pull this apart to see which ones are happy and alive. But first I'm gonna grab the moss pole. This next part is a paid advert for BetterHelp that I'm super grateful for. I was raised by spiritual parents, so working on yourself and well-being was a priority. But that was through yoga, meditation, talking things out between each other, and not so much through therapy. My parents weren't against therapy, it just never came up. I think actually my parents went to therapy for the first time when they came to my appointment for my ADHD diagnosis when I was about 32 and they were in their 60s. They are so open-minded and free of judgment that I think they never even thought about me having ADHD. I was just who I was, and that is okay. Actually, thinking back, my mom also has undiagnosed ADHD, so that probably made things more normal and easier. Also, my dad was used to dealing with my mom. It was just what it was normal, and it was part of life. Since that meeting with my therapist though, my mom did try EMDR therapy because their house burned down several years ago and it was quite traumatic, as you can imagine. But generally, it is not part of their world. Now, I am very happy that it did become part of my world for the first time in 2011 when I was struggling with an eating disorder. I have been to therapy for many different things over the years, from that eating disorder and ADHD to a burnout, PTSD, as well as anxiety. Having a therapist has been very, very helpful for me, offering me tools and support that I'd recommend to anyone. While there was no judgment or negative idea about therapy from my parents, many people do experience this. Did you know that 62% of adults believe societal attitudes discourage people from seeking mental health help? Despite growing up in an era of mental health awareness, 37% of Gen Z believes that people who seek therapy are mentally weak, which absolutely shocked me. In honor of Mental Health Awareness Month, I'm grateful to be working with BetterHelp to stop the stigma around mental health support and encourage more people to get support from a therapist. Therapists listen, ask questions, and help you see things from new perspectives. They can give you advice and techniques to make positive changes in your life, and BetterHelp's mission is to make starting therapy as easy as possible. If you think you could benefit from speaking with a credentialed therapist, click the link in the description or go to betterhelp.com/yogaandplant to match with a therapist. Using my link also gets you 10% off your first month of therapy. Now back to the video. So this is not sponsored, but they did gift this to me. I think they're called Plant Me, and there's different pieces that you can screw into each other so that they become longer. Yes. And there's a bottom piece as well, but we don't need that for this. And I think we only need one piece. They told me I can be quite rough with this, even though I'm scared to break the 3D. Yes, okay. So we're just gonna fill one with moss. And I don't know if you can see, but there is a plastic thingy in here. So about a little bit more than half is, so it goes from here to here, the plastic. A little bit more than half is plastic backed, just like my D-shaped moss poles, so that it doesn't lose the humidity too fast. So let's fill this up. Wait, should we fill it up first or stick the plant in first? I should probably repot it first, actually, that's more. And then we'll put this around, and then we'll put moss in. I hope that makes sense. We will see. Let's see. This is very compact. Some moss. It does feel like there's some dead roots in there. It's actually a pretty long stem all the way down here. I definitely removed some dead roots, but most of them look good, and a lot of them are rooting down into the soil, the aerial roots. So look at that nice fresh new one. I have no idea if you can see what I'm doing. We're gonna give this a bigger pot for sure, and then figure out the moss pole situation. I found this pot, so it's quite a bit bigger than the previous one, but it fits the size of the roots. And we have some soil, just my regular soil mix. Everything is getting messy. Hello, boyfriend.
Hello, girlfriend.
It's nice. Very nice. Okay. Okay, so this is potted up now. Now we're gonna try and figure out the moss pole situation. Mm-hmm. So basically, if I'm looking at this, I can fill it up with moss basically all the way. Already? Can you see what I'm doing? Nou, dan kan je mij wel eventjes helpen met filmen. Want dit is best wel moeilijk. I'm just stuffing the moss in.
Je kan niet echt zo'n mooie randjes schilderen.
The moss they sent with it is very small pieces, so it's falling out a little bit. Will you make sure this plant doesn't fall over, please?
Nee.
Oh. Thank
Ik
you.
ga zwart verven.
En nu eventjes alleen, heel kort. Je hoeft ze niet vast te houden, maar gewoon eventjes dat hij...
Het is hier koud, man.
Ja. Okay. I packed it full of moss.
Het is niet zwaar overbelicht, je camera.
Yeah. Now we're gonna stick it on the moss pole, on the bamboo stake, on the back. It's kind of gonna mess up the vibe. Wait, de plant mag er wel eventjes vanaf leunen. Niet te ver. Ja. Oké.
Steek je hem dan achter het plastic?
Zo. En dan zo. This is the idea.
Nee, doe hem gewoon helemaal naar beneden, joh.
Nee,
Als je er dan water gaat geven, dan flikkert het allemaal eruit.
dat maakt niet uit.
Dat maakt niet uit.
Nee, want ik wil dat hij hier gaat rooten, zodat we dan hem kunnen oppotten vanaf hier.
I'm rooting for you.
Yeah, rooting for the plant. My boyfriend was right. It is not very handy because these moss poles come with a watering can kind of thing that you can set to whatever, if you want it to go fast or slower, which you can click onto the moss pole and then it automatically waters, like I do with the water bottles with the holes in them, but specially made and perfectly fitting onto this system. But because there is nothing underneath, when I do this, it drips down onto my windowsill because it's kind of angled away from the pot. I found a solution for now where I put a little thing, like usually an empty water bottle, on the side where it's leaning so that it does end up in the pot, but it's definitely not the smartest choice that I've ever made. How are we gonna get it to connect though? I need some long pieces of... There's moss on my face. I need some longer pieces of this. Plant Velcro. Okay, one sec. Just to be clear, this is definitely not how you're supposed to use this. But I think it's gonna work really well because this plant is gonna just have the support. Let's see if I can manage this. Tie it with a bit of plant Velcro. There we go. Now we just have to make sure that it stays planted. My boyfriend did say it's a little bit dumb because when we water the moss pole now, it's gonna drip out here, which is gonna be a little bit more messy. But I'm okay with that, I think. It doesn't need a moss pole down here because look, that would be a whole moss pole that's not doing anything. And my idea is once it roots well into here, we can chop it here. And then we are left with a piece that has the variegation and not so much all the green leaves. And hopefully that's gonna help it because apparently this is hard to propagate. Okay, done. The update of the Ilse Mani This is what it ended up looking like with the plant attached with some plant Velcro. It is starting to grow a new leaf here, which the camera does not want to focus on. There you go. So I am very curious to see what the variegation will look like, because hopefully we'll get a little bit more with each leaf. It seems to be happy in the bigger pot. And I do notice, because this is in my south-facing window, the moss dries out pretty quickly, but I'm keeping an eye on it with that watering thing that's in it. As you can see, it's still a little bit wobbly, but that's okay because it's leaning against the side of my windowsill. I think it's going well. And then we have my beautiful Florida Ghost that has been growing on a bamboo stake as well in a very small pot. So we're gonna do exactly the same with this one. Repot it, hopefully the roots are okay. Give it a moss pole at the top only, because if we're giving this whole thing a moss pole, it's not so nice. And it has a ton of leaves. It just fell over actually, so I hope they didn't break. But repot first. Let's see. Oh, I broke off a leaf already. Come on. There we go. This plant has been ignored a lot, so it's nice to give it some attention. These are the roots. This is the pot I'm gonna go for. Okay. Trying to get it balanced on the bamboo stake first. Now we're gonna make a moss pole to go at the top. Here is the plant. It's too windy to even see properly. The second piece of moss pole, same deal. I filled it up with the moss. Now we are gonna try and slide it over this part. Yes. For this one, the bamboo stake is a little bit longer, so I have it coming out the top. When we screw on the next part, that's gonna be right there. Now, I think it's pretty good. Okay, now we need...
Ga die alleen maar daar doen, helemaal bovenin.
Ja.
Ik vind het maar raar.
Ja, maar deze gaat toch niet meer rooten op de mospol. En anders moet je een stek maken, maar deze zijn moeilijk te stekken.
Ik vind het maar vreemd. Wordt
Oké.
nog meer topzwaar.
Ja, en dan gaan we hem daarna stekken. En dan is het weer een kleintje met op een mospol. Happy, happy. It looks kind of weird. My boyfriend says it's gonna topple over and even more because it's top heavy now. Which you can see happening a little bit. But this leans into a corner in the bathroom, so that's fine. I think it's gonna be great, actually. I just have to tie the plant. You're too low. This plant is too tall. I don't know, one of the two. How about this? So this plant needs to be tied to the moss pole because it's still loose. Can you see? No, not really.
Die is loose.
Loose! I need some longer stuff.
Hey, kijk hier nou.
Mickey!
Hey, makker.
Kan jij mij even helpen? Ik moet een stuk van deze knippen. Maar een lange.
Heb je een knip dan?
Nee. En ik kan deze niet loslaten. Of wat? Dan valt hij dus om.
Daar.
I'm recruiting my boyfriend to help. Knip hier. En dan nog een keertje. Net zo'n lang stuk als dit. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye! Okay. Good luck, little plant. It kept getting stuck during winter, so that's why these leaves are half. This is what a leaf is supposed to look like. Yeah. This has an outer pot now from Ocean... What is it called? Ocean Waste? It's made from ocean waste, like Elho, but this is a Scottish company. And it's gonna go back in the bathroom. And I will let you know how it goes. I may have put the moss pole upside down. I'm just... should I check? Or do we not care? I don't want to redo it. After I filmed that video, I realized that I did, in fact, put this one upside down. It did grow a beautiful new leaf for me. I wonder if it's rooted in there already, because otherwise we can try and switch it back now. Let's see. Oh, do I see roots? Maybe. This one was just to have it not fall over. Oh, there's a little root, but I can still save it. So we're gonna switch this over, that I can put the watering thing on it. Okay, that went pretty well. I switched it over. I taped it back up. I put back the tape that holds it in place. There's a bunch of moss on the ground we're gonna ignore, but I think it's working. Now I just hope these internodes are gonna stay quite small so it doesn't need a new pole and a new pole really quickly, but yay. Okay, that went pretty well. This is the ghost on the nice camera. I hope you can hear me. I have to stand very far away from it. I turned the thing around, so now I can actually screw the watering can thing that it comes with on top, because it may not look like it was a problem it being upside down, but that means I can never use the watering thing at the top, or the base plate. If I propagate this and repot, at the bottom the base plate wouldn't fit. So I'm glad I chose to do that. New leaf in the nice light. The growth point looks pretty good, and I like that it's so big because it's in quite a dark corner of our bathroom, and it just makes it look really nice. And the new leaves still come in with this nice minty color, meaning that it is getting enough light where it lives. It just makes a boring corner of the bathroom look so much nicer, so I love it. Caspar, the Florida ghost. The main reason of doing this video is because this plant, the Thai constellation mint, desperately needs a repot. Check this out. Beautiful big roots. And I was waiting a little bit, holding off on this, because we also have this cutting, which is now rooted in water, looks very slimy, and it's growing. It has a little growth point there. So I'm gonna put these both on this amazing moss pole that I have for my other ferry. Is on these moss poles from Trofolia, and this is a very handy one because there is moss already on it. There is a pipe in here that you can extend. This is also not sponsored, but it is gifted, and they did a cool thing where you can make because we're going to use quite a deep pot for this one. This thing extends super far so that the moss is not underneath the soil and doesn't rot. So let's measure that. It's not so handy with one hand. Wait, make some space. So we probably need the longest measurements for this, maybe a little bit less, like this. Close this thing, and then we have a little base plate so that it stays balanced inside the soil. Oh, it actually can go a little bit lower. See, with the base plate, we want it to be at the top of the soil, especially for that new plant, because that's going to grow hopefully straight into the moss pole. And I'm going to have the moss pole on one side of the pot so that both plants can grow sort of towards the front. Hello!
Boy, mate.
Now the biggest hassle is going to be unpotting the one plant and cleaning the roots of the other plant and then getting them happily in this pot together. So let's try. Maybe let's try and clean this one first, because this slime has got to go. I'm gonna hose it down. I'll be back.
5 minutes later.
It's not super clean. I think it's clean enough, and I hope these roots are gonna do well in the pot. Now for the other one, we're gonna have to unpot it without harming these roots, hopefully. Let's see. Ooh, yeah. That went pretty well. Okay. Okay, we have some new soil. Okay. Fuck. Okay. Do not wobble the moss pole. Let's see. The main one is this one, of course. You can't see the plant because that's super overlit because it's in the sun. Okay, I was not recording when I was putting the second plant in, so that's great. But I planted it with, it's actually pretty loose still, with the growth point towards the plant. And now I'm filling up the rest of the pot. That's a big pot, by the way, lots of soil. But it is the start of spring, and it is 2 Monstera, and they grow very fast, so I think it's gonna be good. Wait a second, I need my eyeballs for this. It's still pretty wobbly, the cutting, so I'm gonna attach that with the Velcro. And this Velcro is actually a lot more sticky than mine, I feel like. Has better grip. I literally have soil in my bra, but okay. Let's move the plants inside. Wait, is that it already? Okay, what is up with this? I was talking again to the camera and nothing was happening. So this is what the plant looks like now. It's basically the same, but on a moss pole and in a bigger pot, with one extra leaf out the side here, which I think might adjust towards the light. Oh, there's a huge mealybug on there. Wait, let me quickly squish that. I don't like squishing with my hand, but I don't have other tools right now, and my hands are very dirty anyway. So, yeah, I'm excited to see what this is gonna look like. I have just a few more chores to do, like I watered all the plants already with fertilizer, and I'm gonna make some moss pole extensions from the regular moss poles that I use, the plastic, like the D shape with the metal in the front, because some of my plants on there, the tall ones, need an extension. So basically I've been working on 3 different moss poles today. This one I know works, and I love, especially for Monstera, because their roots are so wild, and here they can attach to the moss pole, but they can also go other ways. Hi neighbors! I'm almost done. And the other one, the D-shaped one, I love for philodendron because their roots are a little bit thinner, so they can go into the moss pole happily and go down towards the soil. And this new 3D one I am testing out. I don't know yet if I like it, but I will let you know. If you have experience with any of them, please let us know in the comments as well. And then lastly, the mint tie update. This is it on the moss pole. I don't know if you can see, but there is a tiny leaf here that has since opened on the cutting. So the cutting is growing, and on the other side, the main plant is growing a new leaf as well. This moss pole is starting to get quite dry now because it's also in my south-facing window, so I'm gonna water that. This actually has a pretty handy system with a little thing you can unfold, and then you can just pour water in, and it slowly goes into the moss pole. I really like this one, and especially I love this plant. I know it's gonna look even better being on this moss pole because it is a large form, so hopefully it should start to increase in leaf size. Sorry, my face is really itchy. Did you notice, by the way, how there is more and more dirt on my face throughout the making of this video? I didn't realize when I was filming because the sun was so bright and I couldn't see my viewfinder, so I didn't realize there was soil on my nose the whole time. Sorry about that. We should also check the roots, actually, because this is such a big pot. Wait. Oh, I need 2 hands to carry this, but see all the nice new roots. Oh, is it leaking on me? Yes. All the nice new roots growing. Ooh, even reaching the bottom there. So more here. It's definitely happy in this big pot, and it was a good decision. Sometimes it's a bit scary to size up that quickly, but I felt confident with the season, and this being a large form Monstera and having some experience with growing these in quite big pots, I was happy to do it. My friends actually are growing anthurium in really big pots as well. Like, some of their bigger anthurium are in buckets much bigger than this. So I am gonna test out with that this spring as well. And actually, speaking of that, wait. Oh, I need to put this down. Okay. Speaking of that, I have repotted a few more plants since making that video. For me, filming plant care somehow feels a lot more scary than actually just doing it. And so I often put off a lot of the plant care that I need to do. And then when I film it, I realize after when I'm editing that I'm not talking to the camera at all. So I have to speed stuff up or take stuff out because it's quite boring to watch, I think. Let me know what you think. But this is my little Ace of Spades crossed with Dressleri Anthurium that I repotted recently. I bought this as a tiny plant from a garden center for 40 euros. And I put it in a different, slightly different mix than I normally have. I don't know if it comes across, but there's already a really nice new root growing. And I really hope that this will help because it was in a tiny pot, the smallest size. I'm hoping it will help it to size up the leaves even bigger because Ace of Spades is a dream. So I wanted to show you that one. And I also did this off camera, but this little Hoya I put on a little trellis, and I have a few more that I'm gonna put on trellises because for Hoya, it definitely helps them a lot to have a support, being steady here, not too tight, but on something and facing upward. So having support, facing upwards with the tendril and getting enough light, which this is in my south facing window. That means that new leaves are gonna grow quicker, like you can see here happening on the tendril. So these tendrils I got from the previous video that I showed you, the Hoya hole, very handy from Hoya Fixation. And this adorable, oh, I love it so much. This pot is from Piece of Clay, actually matches my nails pretty well. I don't know if it comes across, but these, when they go like this, they're kind of blue. And then this is more pink purple. So exactly like this pot. I have quite a lot of Piece of Clay's designs in these colors because I love them. We have some bowls. I have another pot. I love her work. This is also not sponsored. None of this is sponsored except the BetterHelp advert, of course. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe below if you haven't already. You can click the bell, then you'll get an email every time I upload. And you can also join my Patreon or YouTube membership where I post extra vlogs, just very easy, no editing videos. And also we do a monthly Zoom call together that is happening tomorrow as I'm filming this. I'm excited to talk to my patrons again and YouTube members. It's pretty funny actually filming this update. I just talked to my patrons again last night. We do a Zoom once a month. So maybe they inspire me to film for you guys and to do more plant care. So thank you patrons. If you want to join, I'll leave a link below or become a YouTube member that gets you the same privileges as whichever patron level you pick, patron tier. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you did your plant chores as well and it went well. And I will keep you up to date on how the plants are settling in with their new moss pole situations. Thanks friends. Bye. And have a good King's Day if you celebrated. Ooh, I'm gonna clean my hands now. Bye.